So in part one, we talked about how the pink letter is written by a false author describing false events to discredit the burning of a false manse. And in part two, we learned how Mance, as a fake bard, goes on a fake mission to rescue a fake aria because Melisandre has his fake son. It's fairly clear that Mance wrote the pink letter, and he's very interested in contacting his second-in-command Tormund and searching for something in the crypts beneath Winterfell. But what are in those crypts, and how does the pink letter connect these two very different schemes? Let's start out by talking about these crypts. Now, this is not the first time Mance has been digging around in a grave. Ygritte tells us that Mance opened 50 graves looking for the Horn of Joramun. And these graves are not exactly easy to locate. They're high up in the Frostfangs beneath a glacier. This means Mance spent months, if not years, searching for this horn, and the Frostfangs are described as cruel and inhospitable. Okay, so Mance really wanted that horn, but what makes anyone think it would be in Winterfell? Well, Jormund himself was a king beyond the wall that first teamed up with the King of the North to fight the Night's King, and sometime later he turned around and attacked the King of the North unsuccessfully. So it's possible that after Jormund's defeat, the King of the North ended up with the horn. And since Starks are buried in the crypts beneath Winterfell, it stands to reason that the horn might be down there. And it seems Jon's subconscious has come to the same conclusion. In A Storm of Swords, he has a dream about the crypts, only to awaken thinking about the horn. But why would Mance still want the horn? Doesn't the horn bring down the wall? And without the wall, who will stop the others? Mance's wife even asked this question point blank to him, and in response, Mance calls his wife wise. Except in the Jormund legend, the wall doesn't come down when he blows the horn. Jormund awakens giants. This fact is mentioned 6 different times in 3 different books, so I imagine it's important. And Tormund later tells us that all of those graves that Mance was searching in were giant graves. This idea that the horn brings down the wall seems to come from Mance and the Wildlings, perhaps as a unifying myth. The Night's Watch's leadership seems completely unaware of it before Mance's arrival. And it's these guys' job to know about threats to the wall. Now yes, later in Winterfell some random soldier does joke about the horn bringing down the walls of Winterfell, but I'm going to chalk that up to the story spreading after Mance's attack on the wall. Prior to the attack, none of the hundreds of men of the Night's Watch who come from all over the kingdom had ever heard of the story, and that includes old wise Maester Aemon. And I do think it's interesting that Mance's southern scheme involves finding a horn famous for waking giants, while his northern scheme involves contacting Tormund, whose nicknames happen to be Hornblower and Giantsbane. And crazy names aside, Tormund did bring hundreds of giants to the wall with him. Will those giants be awakened? And wait a minute, aren't they already awake? The short answer is no. The giants of legend are completely different from the giants that we see in the story. The giant we know best, Woon Woon, is gentle. He's a vegetarian. He has no king. And he has hundreds of relatives. The giants of legend are savage. They mix blood with their porridge. They have a king, and there's only one of them left. The giants of legend sound a lot like Greenseers. After all, the Three-Eyed Crow is called the Last Greenseer. And Bran, while underground visiting the Three-Eyed Crow, ends up eating a bowl of paste that seems like blood. Then while wandering, he finds a room filled with sleeping Greenseers. And keep in mind, when Ygritte and Tormund sang about the last of the giants, they said that the giants used to rule the earth and that their singing was dying off. Even our dim protagonist Jon recognized there was something weird about the song. Jon protests that there are hundreds of giants remaining, but he should have also protested the fact that it wasn't giants that used to rule the world, it was children of the forest, and they happen to call themselves singers. So giants equals Greenseers. Whoop-de-fucking-do. What can they do? They're all stuck in a cave. Except we know that Greenseers can warg into other animals, such as direwolves, or, most importantly, giant-like creatures like Hodor. And Tormund brought hundreds of giant-like creatures to the wall, namely, giants. Is Tormund aligned with the Greenseers? Well, by his own admission, he is. Besides the names Hornblower and Giantsbane, he's also called Speaker to Gods. He's also called the Mead King of Ruddy Hall, and the only ruddy environment I know of are the ruddy caverns of the Greenseers. But also, Tormund has a particularly interesting story about how he got the name Giantsbane. Tormund said his name should actually be Giant's Babe. Tormund claims that he went into a cave to avoid the cold, only to end up suckling on a giant's breast for 3 months. He even says he misses the taste of giant's milk. Now, Bran happens to find weirwood paste intoxicating like a mother's kiss, and he weirdly describes the Three-Eyed Crow as a child in his mother's arms the first time he sees him. And the Three-Eyed Crow won't shut up about breastfeeding.
The point of all of this is that Tormund's names might actually be true. He may actually be a giant's babe and a speaker to gods. So it turns out in the end, these two different schemes are actually very much linked. By contacting Tormund, Mance brings the giants to the wall, and by finding the Horn of Winter, Mance awakens the giants. And the Pink Letter? It simultaneously rallies the wildlings while creating chaos at Castle Black. If there were ever a time for Tormund to try to take Castle Black, it would be then. Meanwhile, if Mance blows the Horn of Winter at the same time as he sends the Pink Letter, the giants should be able to take Eastwatch by the Sea at the same time as the wildlings take Castle Black. And there is some indication that this has happened, as Woon Woon goes completely nuts at the same time as the Pink Letter. While we are led to believe that Woon Woon is defending Val against Sir Patrick, the events actually don't make sense if you think about it. The Queen's men are in crisis mode, so their main priority is to protect Shireen. Stealing Val at this moment would be incredibly incompetent, but even if he were going to steal Val, why then? Why not wait until the wildlings all leave? And Woon Woon seems to have random slashes on his arms and belly. Had Sir Patrick attacked Woon Woon, wouldn't there be deep stabs on his lower body? Those haphazard slashes make it look like Woon Woon attacked Sir Patrick first, and Sir Patrick panicked. Quite fitting to the whole situation, Jon thinks the best way to control it is with a horn. So in conclusion, Mance wrote the Pink Letter as part of his two schemes to contact Tormund and search the crypts of Winterfell. He hoped to rally the wildlings and awaken giants with the Horn of Winter. And this is all for the purpose of attacking the Wall and the North. And that's all I have, though I'd like to say that I'm probably wrong about half of this stuff. That's what's great about A Song of Ice and Fire. It keeps us constantly guessing. I hope this video has opened your mind to new possibilities. And most of all, I hope it's been fun. And if you need more to think about, who poisoned the honeyed locusts?